Oh, Galloping Ecstasy. Never will I forget the ride I took upon the back of Galloping Ecstasy. Indeed, that ride was the joy ride of my life. Scarcely had I slid upon the glistening steed of bliss before it took off with the racing fury of a million stallions galloping into a new sunrise of joy unspeakable. Though I was firmly mounted upon the vibrations of tingling light, of untamed feeling, suddenly I realized that I was also the very ecstasy that swiftly carried me over the highlands of my heart and soul. I was even the tenuous ground upon which the hoofs of this ecstatic beast thundered into the blessed beyond. The blood of divine passion rushed wildly through my being as a restless, mighty river seeking its oceanic allness. In a twinkle, I, the one, became two, wayfaring to one side of this enraptured journey to behold my mirrored reflection. I had become a woman as well, one seemingly far but near, one apparent female stranger but oh so dear, one also born upon the wings of this unisonic gust of cheer. Entranced was I at my womanly splendor, who accompanied me on this journey of explosive joy. Scarcely had I time to gasp at my feminine glory before thunder rolled and lightning flashed, a blazing red, a flaming yellow that shotgunned into a united sun with enthusiasm divine. The two again became one. With laughter bursting from every pore of my being, I strained between giggles to stay amount this mare of merry madness, who carried me to the top of mountains of joy, to faraway planets of ecstatic peace, across unending lakes of bubbling laughter, to delightfully strange lands where boulders of bliss rained upon my head from the windows of heaven. It was me, high on ecstasy, vibrating and galloping flight beyond any speed capable of measurement. I laughed, and I giggled and joyfully screamed. I could even feel the woman down in my soul laughing with me. It was as though we waged a race of laughter for a prize already won by each, the two aspects of me. This ride, so wonderfully wild, I could barely stand it. I pulled hard upon the reins of this filly of runaway feeling. Slow down, you beast of joy, I commanded. Let me compose myself. It was then that I realized it was not I who governed the pace of this untamed delight upon which I rode, for in that instant the steed, along with me, transformed into a great white light that skyrocketed infinite miles through eternity, reaching the mountain top of allness. Suddenly, I was dropped from this great mountain to become a whirling spiral of downward flight. In spite of the speed at which I was falling, I laughed and laughed and laughed all the way down. When I finally hit the would-be bottom, my soul splattered into a dazzling rainbow of graduated joy. I became every color in the spectrum that leaped omnificently into the air to reclaim the promised land in the mountain of His Highness. I then remounted the steed of bliss, infinitely ablaze with the fires of ever new happiness, continuing the journey to discover plus reclaim the lost kingdom of universal joy. Oh, joy ride, flaming ecstasy, unto you I give my all, my soul. Take me upward wherever you will, to the summit of my magnificent whole. Galloping ecstasy, fly, Fly, fly away with me. Fly away with me. Oh. Oh, I tell you. Thank you so much for receiving that. All my beloveds who happen to be viewing this one. That piece I call Galloping, Ecstasy, and it also is a part of my book, Miraculii, Song of Ascension. I wrote that piece many years ago. I think I was about 24 years old, and I was living in Chicago where my body was born, and going to Luke College at that time. And I remember it was a long class, like about a 3 or 4 hour class, and so it had like a 20-minute break in between. And on that 20-minute break, I went and called a sister friend of mine, and she and I were on the phone talking for quite some time. In fact, I never even made it back to class. We were having such an amazing communication, and somehow that conversation between me and this woman catapulted me into the energy that I wrote in Galloping Ecstasy. So I was driving a taxi at that time. I left school, got in the taxi, you know, supposedly going to pick up a few fares, and I just couldn't contain myself. So I had to pull over to the side of the road and wrote that piece, you know, from start to finish. And that's how Galloping Ecstasy was born. So thank you so much for receiving that. It was certainly a lot of fun to share it, and it brings back some amazing memories, because that woman certainly stirred something within my heart, gave my heart something extra to throb about, and I was able to birth that piece as a result of that exchange. If you would like to look further into my creations, you can go to my website, Astarius.com, Astarius.com. And I appreciate all of your support. As a self-producing artist, all of the sales that I get are greatly, greatly appreciated. So have a glorious, glorious day. I love you so much, and namaste.